You've probably heard about Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. The Wall Street Journal previously revealed that these women received hush money payments after alleging they had sexual encounters with Donald Trump. What wasn't known until now is that Trump personally orchestrated those deals.
We have new reporting that shows his direct involvement leading up to the 2016 election.
It's based on more than 30 interviews with people directly involved with the events or who were briefed on them.
Plus court papers, corporate records, and other documents.
We gathered the reporting team to lay out a timeline of Trump's involvement.
It's a complicated story. We needed a lot of space.
The story starts in August 2015 when David Pecker, who's the CEO of American Media that owns the National Enquirer, came to Donald Trump's office at the request of Trump's special counsel, Michael Cohen.
So when Pecker showed up at Trump's office, Trump asked him, "David, what can you do to help my campaign?" He offers to alert the Trump campaign of any women who are coming forward with negative allegations about him and to help bury those stories.
He says essentially that we will help you catch and kill any negative stories about women.
So this information has never been out there before, and it really gets to the heart of what Trump knew and when he knew it.
Pecker's offer to silence women would protect him from negative headlines that could tarnish his standing among voters. While all this was going on in the background and Trump was having these private conversations and his meeting with David Pecker, there was a lot of other stuff going on in public.
I don't have a lot of respect for Megyn Kelly. She's a lightweight. You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
Even for Trump, this was an extremely explicit and personal attack. And while Trump doubled down in public, in private, he was really trying to keep a lid on his dirty laundry.
That effort became even more important as Trump got close to a major public victory.
Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
Trump secured the Republican nomination in May 2016. Right around that time, a former playmate named Karen McDougal was talking to people about possibly going public with her story of an affair with Donald Trump. Trump denies the allegations.
At that point, both David Pecker and the chief content officer of AMI, Dylan Howard, told Cohen that Karen McDougal was shopping her story. Cohen tells Trump, and at this point a very important moment happens. Trump calls David Pecker and tells him to quash the allegations.
So Dylan Howard interviews Karen McDougal for several hours in Los Angeles at her lawyer's office, and he asks her if she has any proof.
Karen seemed to be wavering a little bit. She said something like, I don't want to be the next Monica Lewinsky.
Right after that meeting, Howard, Pecker, and Cohen all get on the phone on a three-way call. American Media decides not to buy the story at that time.
The key here is that Donald Trump actually called David Pecker and asked him to handle this matter. And that's something that we just didn't know before.
So later in the summer of 2016, Karen McDougal starts talking to ABC News, and this was a pivotal moment.
AMI and Michael Cohen get wind of this. Cohen then tells Trump, and all of them decide that now is the time to kill the story.
In August, David Pecker's company changed its mind. Now it was interested in buying McDougal's story. McDougal was paid $150,000 for her life rights.
So the agreement doesn't mention Trump anywhere, but this is the retainer agreement between Karen McDougal and her attorney, and this one is quite explicit.
When Pecker bought the story from McDougal for $150,000, Cohen reassured him that Trump was going to reimburse him for the money. Our reporting shows that this deal was also orchestrated by Trump.
Then in October, Trump's campaign is thrown into chaos.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the
The video prompts an outcry from Republicans. A lot of people demand for him to withdraw from the race.
Right, but behind the scenes, there was a lot of anxiety among his advisors about how to respond to the Access Hollywood tapes and whether there might be more stuff that could come out, some final surprises that they didn't want to happen in the last 4 weeks before the election.
It's right at this moment when another woman comes forward threatening to derail Trump's campaign with an allegation of a sexual encounter. Her name is Stormy Daniels.
Trump continues to deny any sexual encounter with Stormy Daniels.
It's a moment of vulnerability for Trump, So it has traction. And Dylan Howard calls Michael Cohen and alerts him that Stormy is selling her story.
Cohen wants AMI to do the same thing that it did with McDougal, says buy the story, but this time AMI says no, like we're done, we did our part. And so then Cohen goes to Trump, then Donald Trump says, okay, well then, get it done.
So Cohen sets out to negotiate a non-disclosure agreement for Stormy Daniels for $130,000.
Ultimately, Michael Cohen establishes a shell company. It's called Essential Consultants.
And then he draws $130,000 from his own home equity line of credit, and he wires it to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. With that non-disclosure agreement, Trump and his allies have successfully squashed Stormy Daniels' story for the moment. This was all going down less than 2 weeks before the presidential election. Trump wins the election.
Fast forward, more than a year later, the Wall Street Journal reveals that Michael Cohen had arranged this payment to Stormy Daniels.
What the president and his lawyer had tried to bury during the campaign had now become very public.
When the White House was first informed about this Wall Street Journal story that's coming about Stormy Daniels, it doesn't really elicit any kind of remarkable response.
I think he and his advisors thought that this story would kind of evaporate pretty quickly, but it didn't.
In February, about a month after the story is published, Michael Cohen says, yeah, I made the payment, but it was a private transaction. I'll always protect Donald Trump. Stormy Daniels is really upset at this point, and she believes that Michael Cohen has breached the agreement. If he can go out and talk about it, she should be able to go out and talk about it. Michael Cohen conveys this to President Trump, and President Trump says, we need to shut it down. He says, go and get a restraining order to make sure that she doesn't violate the agreement.
At this point in the story, Trump has tried to silence a woman from his past or to conceal the silencing of a woman at least 4 times.
The arbitration demand is filed, and it's successful. They get the restraining order, but then Stormy just ignores it with her lawyer.
And you had sex with him?
Yes.
You were 27, he was 60. Were you physically attracted to him?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Then Trump himself denied knowledge of the payment.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
And when we ask how the payment was made or why she was paid, he says,
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Then the FBI raided Michael Cohen's office, hotel room, and home, and the story blew up.
So this private investigation that the government has been undergoing for months has spilled into public view.
Fast forward to August 21st, 2018, when Michael Cohen enters a guilty plea in Manhattan federal court. He pleads guilty to 8 counts, 2 campaign finance charges. Federal prosecutors viewed the hush payments to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal as in-kind campaign contributions because suppressing their stories helped the Trump campaign. He says he made these payments at the direction of the candidate. There's this dramatic moment when we realized that what he was saying is that he had committed 2 federal crimes at the direction of President Trump.
In the charging document that federal prosecutors filed against Michael Cohen, they referred to an unnamed campaign member or members who coordinated with Cohen in the hush money deals. We're now reporting that President Trump was the unnamed campaign member who they were talking about.
Because of our reporting and the investigation, all of this information has become public. Now, a newly elected Democratic majority in the House of Representatives has signaled its intention to investigate the Trump administration aggressively when it takes power next year.